Greetings, Goths, punks, metalheads, Herberts, Herbetters, Martians, and subterranean folk and cosmic groovers. How you all doing? My name's John, and this is the Health Anarchist channel. Well, today's video is all about some of the weird, unusual stuff that I've got, and most of it I've either found, I've dug it up, or I've metal detected it, or occasionally I found it in second-hand shops. So let's get into it. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I think myself and a lot of other goths that I know were kind of like very much like crows or magpies finding shiny things and taking it back to the nest. Well, with goths, it's similar, but we like anything weird or unusual or a bit different, then we tend to zone in on that and bring it back to our nests. So I've got a lot of stuff that I've collected and found over the years. I'll just give you a quick look now of some of the stuff I've got. So I'm currently keeping my old clay pipes in this Tupperware box. There's a lot in there, perhaps 80. Now this Tupperware box has got most of my coins and metal objects that I found over the years, metal detecting. There's a lot of stuff in there. Obviously, I can't show all that. It'd take me hours and hours and hours to go through everything. So I've got a selection that I've taken from those two boxes and some other things as well. And I'm going to show you those today. Really, I could do with making up some big boards to put on the wall where everything could be nicely displayed, because it's a shame to keep them in boxes, really. So I think a really good point to start this video with would be from last week's video when I showed you that ball and chain shackle. So we'll just have a look at that. So this is the ball and chain shackle. Now it's a really cool item and I got it for a pretty low price. So this lock is fully functional. So you put the manacle on and then you take the key out and it locks it. So there's your key, and that's locked on if you've got it on. And there's no way you're getting out of that fast. Now I know, because like a fool, I tried it on my ankle. And it was only when I put it on and I took the key out, I thought, I wonder if this is so old that the lock doesn't work properly. What if I'm stuck? And I kind of panicked a bit, but luckily it does work, but I don't think I'll try that again in a hurry. So this, I think I will display it up on the wall. I'll probably put some kind of hook on the wall and have it on display, because for a goth, this is a really cool item, isn't it? I mean, we don't do vases of flowers, do we? But this is a cool ornament. I think the best way to do this today would be to go back in age order, so starting with the oldest things I've got. So first off, we'll start with this. This is a Mesolithic axe head. This would have been hafted in a wooden shaft, and just think it is so old that cool, isn't it? I actually bought this from an antiques place and it wasn't too badly priced. But yeah, what an amazing bit of history. So I've actually also got, from the Mesolithic period, a graving tool. This is something that I found up on the moors. Now, this would have been used for engraving into bone or into wood or leather. It probably had a wooden handle at the time. I did send that one off to the Manchester Museum and they verified that it was a graving tool. And they asked me, you know, for the map coordinates just to plot it down where it was. So I did that. I always do if I get a historical find. I always report it. So this doesn't look like much, but this little stone object's a 7,000-year-old Mesolithic tool. Moving on now, we'll move up to the Bronze Age. Now I don't have any actual Bronze Age artifacts. I'd love to find one, but I haven't got any, so I've got a replica because I'm very fascinated in the Bronze Age. Now this is a replica of a Bronze Age axe head. The actual original one was found in a burial mound near Stonehenge. Now this is thought to be, the axe that this is modelled on was thought to be possibly a ceremonial axe rather than an actual axe that had been used for cutting. So it was made using traditional techniques of how it would have been made at the time. So yeah, that's a cool item. Why wouldn't a Goth not want a Bronze Age axe head and a stone axe head? Now next up is the Roman period. Now I've got a lot of stuff from the Roman period because they left a lot of stuff behind. A lot of this was found in Lincolnshire, metal detecting. Also some of it found on the surface. So I found quite a few coins. Most of them were in pretty poor condition after thousands of years in the soil. But I'll just give you a close-up of those now. So these are the Roman coins I have. They've all got some damage or a bit worn. It's nice to see the different emperors. I think most of these are Constantines. This is my very favourite Roman coin. I like to try and imagine who actually held these and lost these thousands of years ago. So next up we've got various fragments of Roman brooches, some more complete than others. A lot of these are smashed up through the ploughing of fields over hundreds of years. I've also included a Roman stylus that I found, which was, it would have been on like a pen thing. This was the tip I found, made of bronze, which would have been used for writing on wax tablets. So that was a cool find. I was so pleased about that. There's also a Roman hairpin, which would have been used by Roman ladies, I guess, because I think the men had short hair in general, to pin the hair up with. That was a cool find. So here's some various fragments of brooches. There's also a hairpin. Wonder who lost these items. And last of all, we have some Roman pottery. These were just pieces that I found in the ploughed soil in fields. Now, I do like finding Roman pottery, especially if it's big chunky pieces. It'd be amazing to find a whole pottery vessel, but you never know. I have got a few other pieces as well. I used to travel to Lincolnshire a lot when I knew people who lived there, but they moved, so I don't really go there anymore. I might do a bit of metal detecting again in the future if I get a good site, and or if I find somewhere, get permission to go somewhere really good, then I'll probably do it. But for the meanwhile, I'm just having a break from that. So next up, we've got the medieval period. Now, I've only got 2 items from this period, and the coins, they're both pretty poor condition, but they're silver coins. One of them I found field searching, just looking on the surface of a ploughed field, and it had just been raining, so it was shiny. That's the smaller one. The second one I found metal detecting, and it's very hard to make anything out on that, but it is a silver hammered coin. I'll just give you a close-up of those. It's amazing what's lying just a few inches under the soil in this country. I mean, they're not very good condition, but they are 2 silver coins. So next up, we've got the post-medieval period, and this is going to cover quite a few centuries because I can't date these exactly. Now, amongst them is buckles. I found loads of buckles over the years, like 200 or 300 years, maybe even 400 years old, because they were commonly lost. They was usually used to fasten clothing or belts, and they often came loose and got lost. So I've got quite a few here. Some of them look like clothing buckles, and some of them look like what they would have had on shoes in the Stuart period, I think. But yeah, quite a lot of those. Various buckles and fastenings here. This is probably about a quarter of the buckles that I've got. I've also put in a couple mystery objects in. Also from the same sort of period, I've got old lead pub tokens, which were used instead of money, usually given by employers to their employees. I don't know how it works exactly, but I know they were exchanged at pubs for beer. So I've got a few of those. I've also got a lead cloth bag seal, which is when there used to be bales of cloth that'd be sealed. The object on the right here is a lead cloth bale seal. The other items are all lead pub tokens, 17th century. So next up, we've got some Georgian buttons from King George III, Mad King George. And these are cartwheel pennies because they're so huge. I've put a modern 1p and a modern 2p next to them so you can see the scale. The actual cartwheel 2p's were even bigger. And they were 1797, I think. Two of these I bought secondhand, which I got a good price for them. And the third one, which is green and more worn, that's one that are metal detected. Also, along with those, there's a little Georgian button. I think it's a Georgian button anyway, and that was a surface find I found when I was climbing down to a waterfall on one of my walks. And that's, I think it's bronze or copper, and it's got like gilded silver over it. Most of the silver's worn off, but it's crazy to think that someone in Georgian times was climbing down to see the waterfall as well. So that was a nice little find. So these coins here are probably my most favourite coins of all the coins I've got. These are Georgian cartwheel penny, and there's a cartwheel 2 penny as well. I've put in some modern pennies and 2 pennies for scale, but they're quite thick and heavy. They were actually unpopular at the time because can you imagine having a bunch of these in your pocket? It'd be really heavy. But they did call him Mad King George, didn't they? But they're substantial chunks of copper. They're 1797. And I don't think they're actually in circulation for that long. This is the silver gilded button I found climbing down a dodgy path by a waterfall, probably 18th century. So next up, we've got old bottles. These type of things. Now, I have been bottle digging with the group a few times and I found loads of bottles. I used to have like ridiculous amount, probably 100, but I had to give a lot of those away when I downsized to this flat, but I still kept some of them. And some I've even found like in the ground, half buried, or there's another tale I'll get to in a minute. I'll just show you those bottles now. So we've got a green Victorian poison bottle, not to be taken on the side. Then we've got a ginger beer bottle, local from Ashton. And we've got one from Bolton with a horse's hoof on. This is the old cod bottles. They had fizzy drinks or fizzy carbonated spring water in them, and the fizz pushed the round ball stopper to the top. Now, my favourite find of a bottle was this one because it's got a little story. Now, about 4 years ago, there was a mini tornado here and it passed through the whole area and it ripped up a load of trees, damaged a load of houses actually, sadly. And on one of my walks, there's a lot of trees that have been ripped up, old trees. And under the trees, you get these big holes where the roots used to be. So I was looking in them like you do when you're looking for things. And I found this bottle, and this is a Staley Bridge, West Wells, and they used to do fizzy drinks and spring water, I think, or fizzy water. And with it being Staley Bridge and a local company, it was a really nice find, and I think this is probably Edwardian or late Victorian, but it's in really nice condition as well. And you know, when the hurricane came, the storm revealed this old treasure that had been hidden for years. Now, the reason I ended up with so many old pipes was I used to live at one point for about 4 years, about half a mile from Manchester city centre. And there used to be this big river that went up into Manchester. And I used to go walking the dogs there. I used to have 2 boxer dogs. And my daughter used to come with me. And we used to go down to the riverbank and we'd find all these old things from the past, all these old pipes and stuff that had just ended up in the river. And every time it'd rain, it'd wash new stuff up. So we used to look every time over 4 years, and that's why we ended up with so many pipes. Some my daughter found, some I found myself, and I found out later they used to be the site of an old pub near where we were looking. So they were probably in the pub drinking and they'd throw them into the river afterwards when they were blocked up and no good anymore. And that's probably why we ended up finding so many. I've also found quite a lot of pipes when I've been bottle digging in the past. So there's quite a few found from bottle digging too in the collection. And whilst I was bottle digging, I also found quite a few little tiny cups, like toy cups. They must have been for dolls or something. I'll just show you a close-up of those pipes and the toys now. So here's a small selection of the clay pipes I've got. They're a fascinating part of social history. They often had celebrities or famous figures from the time made into some of the faces you can see. I love the skull and crossbones one. And yeah, they're just a fascinating part of our past. I love this really sort of creepy hand one. So here we've got a game piece. You get a bunch of these and you throw them up in the air and try and catch them on the back of your hand. And we've got some dolls cups. Little tiny one. Fascinating glimpses into the past. And we've got a little jug of some type here for dolls again. So that's a fair part of my collection, what I've shown you. Obviously I can't show you everything, but it's a good representation. The reason I'm doing this video today is because I have all these unusual weird things and most people are just not interested in them at all. I tell people or show people and they're like, just not interested. But I think a lot of other goths out there find this stuff interesting as well for some reason. And there's probably loads of you out there who find this sort of stuff interesting. So I thought it was worth sharing. Anyway, big thank you to all my new subscribers. Cheers, guys. Really means a lot. And welcome aboard. And for all of you that have been aboard for a while, cheers for staying with me. It's really appreciated. So that being said, I think I'm going to wrap up today's video. So I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did enjoy it, give us a like and a subscribe if you want to. Really helps grow the channel. So until the next video, don't forget, be different, stay weird, and stay free. Bye now.